It's a day called today. We're talking guitars and life. Is what's in this bag worth $800? I don't know, Jack. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. Today's something completely different. My nephew, my nephew. You remember my nephew, man? He was the cat with the stickered up Squier Strat that we cleaned up and got that copacetically rocking and rolling. And also the TAKAMINE guitar belonged to his grandfather. Yeah, you can see those playlists in the description below if you fancy a journey. Well, my nephew brought me a little something to check out, my friends. It is the Epiphone IGC Les Paul custom guitar. This particular guitar came with a premium soft shell case, a gig bag, and it's a pretty nice gig bag, man. The padding on the top is probably about, 3/4 of an inch thick or so. On the bottom, it feels a bit thicker than that to me, maybe a full inch of foam in the bottom. It has a nice pocket here for all of your accessories and whatnot. Of course, you got your backpacking straps and all those kind of deals, man. Pretty nice premium gig bag, I think. Now, he brought it to me as is, guys. He's had it for a whole day and a half. So the shop was his first stop for his guitar, my friends. So in the bag, we had a copacetic bag of goodies, a bag in the bag, you understand? In this bag, there are 5 or 6 different kinds of Epiphone stickers. Man, my nephew loves stickers, Jack, so he's in business now. Hopefully, let's don't put them on the guitar, huh? Also in the bag was a 4mm truss rod, and that is my nephew's pick. That did not come with the guitar purchase. There was a tag in the bag that says Gibson featuring Gibson strings, so I guess that's Gibson strings on this guitar, and also a Gibson app exclusive free trial for, I guess, guitar lessons. But the main event is this bad boy right here. My friends, this is the Epiphone Les Paul Custom inspired by Gibson, you understand, the IGC model. Now, what's interesting about these guitars is if you were to go out to the Googler and punch in Epiphone Les Paul Custom IGC, you'll find 2 price points. And the 2 price points had me kind of curious. This particular model, the one that my nephew got, retails, he bought it from American Musical Supply. And I think he got a little bit of a sale price, but it retails today for $799, i.e. $800. There's another model out there that looks the same, but the features are different, and it is $1299. Well, my friends, you may be wondering, as I did initially, what's the distinction between the $799 version of this guitar and the $1299 version of this guitar? Well, we'll talk about that along the way. So the body of this guitar is made out of mahogany, but there is no maple cap. It's just the mahogany body. By contrast, the $1299 model is a solid mahogany body with a 2-piece maple top on it. The necks are both mahogany, however, the neck of the $799 just says mahogany, while the $1299 guitar says it's a 1-piece mahogany body, which leads me to believe that it's 1 piece of mahogany, thus the words 1 piece. The neck profile of this guitar is a 60s slim taper neck. By contrast, on the $1299 model, the neck would be a 50s style rounded neck. So depends on what you like. The neck tenon on the $799 is short, while the neck tenon on the $1299 is long, and according to the specs, historically accurate. Jig. The fingerboard on both guitars is ebony. The headstock on the $799 model is the 60s Kalamazoo headstock, while the $1299 model you would get the Gibson Open Book headstock. The inlays on this guitar are pearloid, while the inlays on the 1299 model are mother of pearl. Yeah, man, the pickups in the 799 model, these are Epiphone ProBucker 2 in the neck and Epiphone ProBucker 3 in the bridge. In the 1299 model, you actually get Gibson USA pickups. Those are the 490R and the 498T, respectively. 799 model comes with CTS pots, while the 1299 model is hand-wired CTS pots and Mallory tone caps. I already mentioned that this particular guitar came with a premium gig bag. The 1299 model comes with a hard shell black case, vintage style, with golden rod interior. Ooh. So that's the difference between the $800 model and the $1,300 model. Well, let's talk about this guitar. This guitar does have gold hardware, as you can see. Those are Grover tuners. This guitar is obviously made in China. That sticker says it right there, Jack. You get your diamond cut, kind of Les Paul looking. It's looks kind of like Babylonian kind of pearloid kind of a thing. I doubt it's mother of pearl in there. The truss rod cover sports Les Paul Custom. That is a Graphtec nut according to the specifications. This is a 24.75 scale length. I don't believe that I mentioned that in the comparison. The nut width is 43 mil. Hey, 2-yard man. At the first fret, the width of this guitar is right around 20 mil, the best I can measure things. There is no slack in the tuners. I've spent a lot of time playing this guitar, and it did go out of tune a couple of times. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that these are the strings that came on the guitar, and according to this tag right there, they are Gibson strings. But my nephew hasn't had it long enough to have stretched the strings out and really had the strings wear in at all. So, you know, I'll cut him some slack on that deal. New strings. The tuners, as I mentioned, don't have any slack in them. I think they held up pretty well. I would need to assess those for a much longer period of time before I could really give a really educated opinion about those tuners. Yeah, man, you've got your black plates on the back. You also have on the back and the front this kind of 3 black lines that go around the body of the guitar. I think that's a good look, man. I think that's a good looking guitar. The weird thing about the finish is that the binding is more of a cream color than a white color. And I doubt they wanted it to be white on white, but I don't know how I kind of feel about it. It really looks gray to my old rock and roll eyes, man. Almost a tan. The strap buttons are gold, as is the tailpiece. This is a lock tune-o-matic bridge. And again, they went with the black speed knobs here, and they went with the black pickup rings and the black pick guard and the black poker chip, as you can tell. It's a pretty guitar, man. I'll give it that. It is sure pretty, and it plays fairly well. So that's what you get for $800. Now, is the guitar worth $800? Well, there's a subjective question for you. I don't know that I can say for anybody else whether this guitar is worth $800. Let me tell you what a guitar is worth. A guitar is worth what someone is willing to pay for it, and that's all a guitar is worth. And so we have had through the channel many guitars in the past year or so. Most of the guitars have been truly budget guitars, and when I say a budget guitar, I mean $300 or less. Some have been sub $200 guitars. And all of those guitars needed what this guitar needs, and that is a setup. Now, I know that somebody's going to say that they bought this brand of guitar at the box store or online, and it came and it was perfectly set up. It didn't need to be tweaked in any way. And man, if that happened to you, man, thumbs up on that deal. That is pretty rare, guys. That is pretty rare. In my 40-something years of guitar playing, all of the guitars that I've ever purchased have needed to be set up, including the American-made Gibsons, the American-made Fenders, and every other guitar that I have owned and has come through this shop. This is the most expensive guitar I've ever reviewed on the channel at $800. The closest thing to it would be the guitar that I won from Fret Knot. Shout out to Rob and Colton. It was an MWS Guitars, handmade here in the States by a luthier. Shout out, Mike. You do a great job, man. And that guitar would have retailed for somewhere in the ballpark of $700. So this is the most expensive guitar I've had through the shop. And at $800, guys, let me tell you what this guitar needs. Everything every other guitar that has been through the shop needs, and that is a setup. And so unless you're going to buy a guitar from a company that's going to do a setup before they ship the guitar to you, like, oh, I don't know, T's Guitar, shout out Torsten. Torsten and his guys set up the guitars before they ship them to you. Every guitar you buy from T's Guitars comes with a basic setup. Now, they don't make LP copies, so can't help you with that. But that's a pretty rare thing. Usually if you buy a guitar from a box store or you buy a guitar online, that guitar is going to come and it's going to need to be set up. Okay, so what do I mean by that? One of the best things about this guitar, okay, is that it does not have any sharp fret edges. Now, I'll say this, for my player preference and everything, guys, I'm saying everything about guitar playing comes down to player preference, from your string action to how the guitar is set up and how it feels. That's something that only you know what you're looking for. For me, if this were my guitar, even though there are no sharp fret edges, I would take a little bit of sandpaper to the edges of those frets, because I play with my thumb over the neck a lot and I do a lot of sliding up and down while I play, and I just don't like the speed bump feel of frets. Again, want to be perfectly clear, there are no sharp fret ends on this guitar. I'm not saying they're sharp. I'm just saying my player preference, I'd like to smooth those out just a little bit. So when it comes to guitars, all guitars need to be set up. So there's three things about this guitar that I could tell you at $800. Okay, number one, this is a Graphtec nut. These nut slots need to be filed just a little bit. I've got a little bit too much play on the first fret than I would like to have, and that's going to mess with your string action and some other things. As I played the guitar, and I have played it quite a bit, there's no buzzing on this guitar. Okay, that sounds really great, right? Well, let me tell you why there's no buzzing on this guitar. Well, it could be that the frets are perfectly level. Okay, guys, I didn't look. Okay, but so the string action on this guitar, at the 12th fret, we're rocking 2.25 on the low E, and we're rocking just south of 2 mil on the high E. That's pretty high action, and I'm a thumper, but that's still a little bit high for me. If you wanted the 64s for the 64 crowd, that's the equivalent to a little bit north of 664s on the low E, and a little bit shy of 664s on the treble. So one, I would want to file these nut slots down. Two, I would want to adjust my action. And three, this guitar is not intonated. Okay. Now, there's going to come some tone samples at the very end of my remarks. And guys, nobody, and I mean nobody, comes to TED Talks Guitars in Life to hear me play guitar. This is a channel where we talk about guitars and we talk about life, and I do work on quite a bit of guitars. But all that to say, this guitar needs to be intonated. So the guitar needs a setup. So don't think that, well, I'm going to spend $800, I'm going to get a perfect guitar that doesn't need to be set up. Guys, the likelihood of that happening is, I'm just saying, it's based on my experience, it's very rare. Put it in the comments if you've had some exceptions. I know a couple of guys who hang on the channel who bought a couple of different other kinds of guitars, and they say that they came and they were perfectly set up, and that's great. I'm not arguing whether or not that's true or anything like that. I'm just saying, for the most part, when you buy a guitar, it's going to need to be set up. So I want to encourage you, one, just to be aware of that. So if you know how to set guitars up, cool. You know how to do it, you can do it. If you don't know how to set up a guitar, you need to count the cost of the guitar, and then just know that you're going to have to take it to a guitar tech or to the box store, the big guitar box store, who's got probably a tech on call or on duty, as it were. And you're going to have to pay to have that guitar set up on top of what you paid for the guitar. Now, that's kind of the way my channel started. I had a Telecaster that I wanted to get set up. Now, I had in the past, there's a person in town that used to work at Paul Reed Smith, and he set up many of my Epiphone LPs, you know, kind of sort of like this one, and some other gear for me through the years. But man, when I would buy a guitar, I would have to take it to somebody to get it set up. Well, I had a Telecaster not too long ago, and I wanted to get it set up. Well, I had a buddy who used to manage a guitar box store here in town. And he left that box store and hung his own shingle as a guitar tech and found employment elsewhere. But our schedules just couldn't align where he could fit me in to get my guitar service. So I just desperately wanted to get the Telecaster set up. And so finally, about 6 months into waiting for our schedules to magically align, that did not happen. And so I started watching YouTube channels, and I learned how to set my gear up. Guys, all this channel is my adventures in learning how to do everything I do on the channel. So when you come to TED Talks Guitars in Life, you're not coming to a subject matter expert. I don't claim to know everything about guitars, and I don't do everything right. There are three things that are true today and every day. Number one, I'm not a luthier. Number two, I'm not a professional. And number three, all this has ever been is my journey. So just keep that in mind as you watch the vids and as we hang out. Nothing I do or say is prescriptive for you. It's just descriptive of my journey and my thoughts on guitars, you know, having played guitars for, you know, a few decades. So I don't have to take my guitars to anyone else to have them set up anymore. So it doesn't matter to me that these nut slots need to be filed. And it doesn't matter to me that the string action isn't right. I can adjust that. And it doesn't even matter to me that the intonation is off, because I know how to fix that jig. But if you didn't, then you just need to be aware. You're going to buy a guitar. You may, more than likely is what I would say, you're going to need to pay somebody to set it up. So learn to set your own gear up, guys. Learn how to do your own work so that you can set your guitar up, not how the tech likes his guitar set up, but how you like your gear set up, man. Don't let anybody rent any space in your head about what your action needs to be and, you know, all that, man. Learn how to do your own work on your guitars, and you'll never have to pay somebody else to do it again, because you know what you're after. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't quite know yet, then there's nothing wrong with giving it to a tech and saying, man, set it up the way you would like it, or just kind of explain to them, well, I kind of sort of, you know, I want low action, I want this, I want that, and they should be able to work with you on that. The more I feel these frets, the more I think, man, if this were my guitar, I'd really be going after it. If you hang on the channel, you already knew that, didn't you? But yeah, man, it's a nice guitar. Is it worth $800? Man, that would be up for you to decide. What I can say for me, would I spend $800 on this guitar? Guys, absolutely positively not. I would not spend $800 on this guitar. Now, let me tell you why I would not spend $800 on the guitar. Now, my nephew, who owns this guitar, is a member of the channel. and a subscriber to the channel. So he's going to see this. Just know when you watch it, I ain't mad at you for paying however much you paid for it. I know the retail is $7.99. I believe he got a much better deal than that. That's not my business to tell. So let's just talk about the sticker price. You can go out on the interwebs and Google this in, and they're going to come up at $7.99 all day long. All right, so let's talk about the guitar and why I wouldn't pay $800 for it. Guys, knowing what I know about guitars, okay? $800, what you're paying for is that brand name right there. You're paying for the Epiphone brand, and you're especially paying for Les Paul Custom. And you're paying for Inspired by Gibson Custom. You're buying a brand. You're spending hundreds of more dollars for a guitar because of a brand name. Now, the $64,000 question that you should always ask is the brand name worth the extra hundreds of dollars? Well, again, only you can say that for yourself. But for me, nah, man, I don't play that anymore. Look, guys, I have had all of the guitars in 40 years. I'm just telling you. I've had American-made Gibsons. I've had LPs, Les Pauls, the whole gamut. I've had American Fenders. I've had Telecasters and Strats, and I used to scoff made in Mexico. What a joke, you know. Indonesia, what in the world? Japan, come on, man. I need a made in America guitar. I was just that guy. I was a bonehead is what I'm saying. Well, now I know better. Having worked on budget guitar after budget guitar after budget guitar, now some budget guitars are much harder to work with than others. There ain't no joke about that. I've got a whole playlist full of budget guitars in the description below of guitars I've taken. I think the cheapest one was right at what, $89, $79, somewhere in there. And man, I made all those guitars into rock and roll machines. Now, were they as good as this one? Well, I don't know. That'd be for, somebody else to say. I'm just saying for me, I know that I can buy a sub $400 LP copy that I could set up to play just as well as this one plays. And if I wanted to, I could put better pickups in it. And I could put better pots in it if I found the pots lacking. So it's just a matter of what you're paying for. So for me, man, I think this is a beautiful guitar. I don't like the binding, but overall, I think it's a really fine looking machine. I think it plays pretty well. Now, because the action was high, and I promised my nephew that I would not take this guitar apart, which is what we normally do with guitars on the channel. So there'll be no dismantling and super under the hood kind of stuff going on with this one, guys. Sorry about that. So just in the playing experience with this guitar, the string action being high was a little bit of an issue for me. And as I said earlier, when you listen to the tone samples, if you've got that kind of patience and time, then you're going to hear the intonation problem. Now, you may not recognize it as an intonation problem, but your ear will hear it. It'll sound just a little off, and the guitar will go out of tune from time to time, and I kind of retune it in between clips. That's the only editing I do in the tone samples. I don't edit out mistakes necessarily. I edit out redundancy. I might play the same song a couple times and different pickups or something like that. But I've got 40 minutes worth of playing, and nobody's got time for that, Jack. So I'll get it down to what I can get it down to. But yeah, man, I think if somebody wanted to spend 800 bucks, you had 800 bucks burn your hole in your pocket, and you need the name brand, I don't know, man, to be cool or whatever, or you just think all this is better than anything else you could get, man, get one all day long. I think you'll dig it, Jack. It's a good playing guitar. I like it. My nephew loves it, Jack. And he might want me to give a little bit of love to it down the road. So that would be another adventure if that happens. So when you listen to the tone samples, I just want to clue you in on something. There's a hat on an amplifier behind me. Can you see your favorite baseball team, Baltimore Orioles, hanging on that Vox Vavtronic amp? As you watch the tone sample vids, two things may be noticeable. And I'd love for you to put your comments about these two things in the comments below. So if the hat is on the Vox Valvetronics amp, that means that I'm playing the guitar through that amplifier and my pedal board, and the only microphone is the mic on my phone, okay? If you don't see the hat on the amplifier behind me, and you'll also notice that the video quality will probably be worse than this video quality, not that this is fantastic. This is my iPhone video, and it looks 100% better, I think, than a video camera that I purchased for the channel, thinking that I could get an even better picture, but it's not really working out that way. So if you don't see the hat, that means I'm using my video camera, and more importantly, I'm going through my audio interface, not the Vox Valvetronics amp. So, man, do me a solid and just let me know in the comments what you hear, the distinction-wise between the in the room with just the phone volume or through the audio interface and the video quality and all those things. I really do appreciate it, man. Well, guys, if you fancy a journey, Tone Land, here we come. Ain't nothing left to do now except check out some tones. As always, wherever you are in your guitar journey, man, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for you, Jack. Rock on with your bad selves, everybody. Catch you down the road.